Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Camera Tuesday, we're gonna talk about is camera company dying? So let's dive right into it because this is a very important question. Now, first thing first, we have to understand the philosophy that we are talking about. Now, if you do not agree with the philosophy that I am presenting in front of you, close the video because otherwise it will not make sense. So let's understand this whole concept of photography itself. Now, if in simplicity, what the hell you are photographing? Basically, you are taking a slice of time and presenting it. So that moment of time is far more important than the quality of the image. For example, you can take a very precious moment. Let's say a kid is smiling or a kid taking his first step. In those sort of scenario, it does not matter whether the photograph is 2 megapixel or 200 megapixel. But let's say you have a scenario where a kid is crying and you have like 200 megapixel awesome photo. People are like, dude, we see that every day. It's boring. It's meaningless. So moment of time matters. For example, sunset photography. Yes, why do we say sunset? Why don't we say 8 megapixel photo, 10 megapixel photo? Because sunset, that moment of time is very precious because it becomes unique colors, things of that nature. So moment of time is very important. And ask any wildlife photographer, they're like all of you, Tom, Dick and Harry, can easily capture a bird photo. Then capturing a photograph like bird is doing something unique, something interesting, that's very hard. Like I have hundreds of photos of monkeys, but for life of me, I could not find a photograph where it's like, a monkey is jumping on another monkey's tail. It's like, what? But that's the whole point. That's what sells. It's like that moment in time. That is very critical. Not 2 megapixel, not 200 megapixel. That moment in time, that slice of time. So that quality of image is no longer core. It's just an add-on. It's like, hey, that awesome moment, imagine that being captured in instead of 2 megapixel 20 megapixels. You will say super awesome, but that moment has to be there in the first place. That's the step one. Everything else is add-on to that. Now that means we are in a position where if you have a choice where you take some photo versus no photo because your awesome camera is in your house or in your car or wherever have you, every Tom, Dick and Harry will agree with this part that photographs are more important. So basically, like any photo is better than no photo. It's like, think of it this way. Let's say some people are, due to budget constraint, they are not taking affording a photographer. It's like you can understand that many people have much more miserable situation than I am. It's like, and I am really low, so I could easily understand people like, dude, let's go of a basically photographer and all that jazz. I can understand that, but here's the, ask them, would they want somebody to use their mobile phone to take photos properly or like any photos? They'll say yes, wholly yes, it's important. So that any photo is better than no photographs. Now mobile is here and it's always with you. Now mobile, what do I mean by that? Mobile simply translates to the ability to move around easily. For example, mobile missile launcher does not mean you are launching missiles from your mobile phone. It simply means a missile carrier that is not tied down to a submarine or like a launch pad. That's what we are talking about. Mobile is mobile. So basically, let's say random things are happening all around you, and you must have seen compilation of videos in YouTube where it's like, hey, things you would not believe, like, if it was not captured. That moment is far more important. And in that, when you see those things, you'll be like, dude, I'm glad that I got to see that, rather than be like, it would be awesome if it was like, 200 megapixel. Nobody thinks like that. So these are the core philosophy, and mobile takes care of that phenomenally well. It's like, I got this. Mobile is like, I got this. Mobile takes care of the philosophy aspect of it, and quality is not that bad. Now, yes, public have changed. Public's perception has changed. Instagram is here to stay. So what are the flaws that happen on the consumer side, like us? That's not that critical because other things are still selling. Cameras are still the selling point of every smartphone sold. So what the hell camera company did that they are in such a poor position? First, for example, like goes with every Sony, Canon, Nikon, every Tom, Dick and Harry. Too many models. For the life of me, I could not figure out why the heck they have so many models. Like, take their lowest offering. It's like, this is my lowest price I can drop my equipment to. It's like, let's say put that is X, and this is my highest equipment. Let's say that's 100X. Here's the deal. They do not need to like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They do not need to do that. They're supposed to be gap. They're supposed to be good. Tangible amount of gap, which also allows for two core things. That means your second hand bodies will still go, like let's say you bought something that is 50 value, brand new, and through 2 years later you bought something newer in that same slot, same price range. Yes, that 50 will now become 25. Now if you already have a camera at 25, yes, that second place is no longer free, so that equipment will become even cheaper. At that point in time, people are like, dude, what? That's why Canon's older model were very awesome. It was like, three cameras, like, low end and high end, and by the time you introduce a used market, it was like 12 cameras. Every price point was covered properly without companies resulting in this model, this model, this model, this model, this model, this model. And here's that inherently is bad for the company also, because that means their per model cost goes up. Ask any person who deals with logistics, is like, what is better, to make millions of one piece, or like, multiple models and all that jazz. Multiple model, you would be surprised how expensive that becomes. Like, you would be like, oh, this is just a camera, I'm changing just that little thing. No, that means you have to change a machine that does that. You have to change the packaging equipment that does that. Then you have to handle the printing equipment that does something different, and all of that you have to somehow advertise, market differently. So you can understand, the more models you make, the more messy the product line becomes, and that creates a scenario where it's like, weird limitations are there, where like person is like, hey, wait a minute, why the heck this super expensive camera does not have a flip out screen, and why the heck this medium sized camera, which while the cheaper one has a touch screen, while the more expensive one does not have a touch screen. What the heck? That happens because you have too much money. Like, even the camera engineers would be like, what do you want me to introduce another camera for, like, $5 more and reduce this feature? What? And this creates idiotic e-waste. For example, recently my camera charger died. Now at the time I did not realize what was the fault. Is my battery died or my charger died? So I ordered both of them, but that was the time I realized, oh god. Like, for example, Canon has this battery series LP, which has two cells packed into one battery. So it's 7.2 volts, two lithium ion cells are inside. So it is a tangible battery bank, not a cell battery bank. So there is E10, there is E17, there is E6, and there is E8. Now here's the fun fact. Almost all of them have exactly the same specification, like literally exact same size, 7.2 volts, literally the same capacity. Like, some would be like 900 milliamp hour, some would be 1000, like literally same, like for categorically same, electronically same, 4 terminals and all that jazz. It's like, why the heck you have so many? And even like, you go down in any camera, like that's why too many models is a messy thing. It's like D800 will expect E17, you go below that, oh no, now you have to buy E10. Why do you have this much garbage? And this creates e-waste, and not to mention, this is the reason why people buy Chinese products. It's like, because many branded stores cannot stock up all these batteries. Like, I went to actual Canon store, it's like, bro, certified legal Canon store, it's like, yeah, we don't have this battery, we only have E10s. I can't put E10 onto E817, even though technically I should be able to do that, but that's the whole point. Why? Like, this mess really infuriates people. It's like, I bought equipment, and you are saying that just for lols you change another aspect of the equipment, and now I have to specifically find that specific equipment. Hopefully it will be available somewhere. Why? So this is the whole point. Like, these are genuinely companies for, like, somebody was doing something very high. So this was truly bad idea. Like, in every imagination, was truly bad idea. Outdated text in current products. Now this aspect is not tolerable. Imagine it this way. Let's say you are a mobile manufacturer, new mobile phone. You're like, tada, I'm gonna launch my product in, let's say, 2020. I'm gonna charge it $500. Now you're like, okay, that's a upper mid-range kind of phone. Okay, cool, everywhere. And here's this. Now you come out with like, you know what? I'm gonna give it LCD. People are like, what the hell are you smoking? Get real. Give OLED. Bare minimum. You have to do that, because again, we do not tolerate outdated technology, no matter the vendor, no matter the company. We are like, dude, in 2020, sell like 2020. For example, let's say there is a new car company, MG Hector. These are new car companies in Indian market, and imagine it this way: they came here and it's like, we're gonna give camera, rear parking camera, after 10 years, because every other camera, car manufacturer that was already in India, it took them 10 years to do that. You're like, what the hell are you so like? Get out of here. And yet, that's the exact same thing done by Nikon and Canon. Both of them could have truly made mirrorless awesome in one go. They knew how to do that. Heck, every Tom, Dick and Harry was like, Nikon is up to something really good. But they removed dual card slot willingly, knowingly, and it's like, no, like, it's our first attempt. Dude, you know how to do that. That's an electrical thing. You know how to do that. And you have done that in your previous camera. You have done that in previous cheaper camera. You know for a fact that it is important, but you're like, nah, man, I'm young, I'm dumb. I'm like, what? Like, seriously, the fact somehow I bought a Canon DSLR 800D, it has micro, basically mini port, mini USB port. How the heck that's even available? Like, that port has been extinct for a long time. How the heck that was even present in a new model? It's like, that's the whole point. This whole garbage technology is like, whole planet is like trying to reduce e-waste. They are like, let's simplify things. Let's use, everybody use micro P. Camera companies like, you know what? No. How the heck that's even acceptable? Like, literally, you look at the technology level of the camera equipment for the price is like, It's not that you can't do that. It's just like you're trolling. It's like, yeah, Bluetooth remote system, yeah, it will not work. Bluetooth audio, like, yes, the Bluetooth audio we had done from, like, 1993, still not there. So that's the whole point. The fact that they are successfully able to sell outdated technology in current product, that simply means more new people will jump into the system. It's like, look at it as like, yep, no thanks. And I can guarantee you, at least one or two dudes who like, yeah, I bought a DSLR or I bought a mirrorless, then I kept it in an Almira. It's like, I don't put it out of the closet because it's like too cumbersome to deal with, simply because they were using outdated technology. Like touchscreen is still not guaranteed. Camera can be still made in 2020 and touchscreen not. I'm talking about normal consumer cameras, not like high-end cinema cameras, normal consumer camera. So that's the whole point. The fact they have zero experience on user experience. It's like zero focus. It's like, I don't care. You want to use my camera, read the freaking manual. No, you're gonna go extinct. That's all that's gonna happen. You're gonna go extinct. There is nothing else than that. That's the only outcome of that. And think of this way, there are people who read, like, I'm a nerd, I do read manuals and all that, but here's the, I should not need to do that. Those will be like, hey, this improves your experience, awesome. It's not like, no, read this, otherwise you will not figure out how the heck to do time lapse in your camera. Wow. So this zero focus on user experience is a truly limiting factor of all camera companies. It's like flat out, like seriously, like very early on when I was deciding, D800 was not out then at that point in time, but Canon's camera was competing at that time. Sony was not that a big a deal, and Canon and Nikon both were there. Here's the deal, at that point in time you would have looked at Nikon's interface, you're like, they were not even giving previews. Like, you could change the shutter speed, it will not show you the preview. What the hell? How the heck that was possible in 2018? Like, that's the point. Zero focus. Is like, we don't give a damn. And like, I don't like Apple, flat out I don't like Apple, but I have to respect the fact that the amount of effort they put into their user interface is like, damn. And yes, Google was not that good with their Android early launches, but right now they are putting so much effort, like so much elbow grease is poured into that. You're like, no, somebody sat down and figured it out. Now you may not agree, you may not like it, but somebody did something. In these cameras, it's like, just put it there, just put it there. It's like, dude, you are a multi-million-dollar company, hire a UI artist. So that fundamentally, the fact that USB charging is not guaranteed in 2020 in every camera, wireless transfer not guaranteed, USB 3.0 not guaranteed, and you can buy cameras for the like for ludicrously high prices, and you will be like, really? I'm still not getting this. Like, for I was genuinely surprised. Like, GPS module was added in camera. GPS module. Here's the fun fact: they are used for stock markets. Why? Because they are one of the most highly accurate clocks in the planet. And somehow no camera manufacturer figured it out that, like, until recently, it's like, hey, we have GPS, why not we use that to set time and date with accuracy, with absolute accuracy. So even if you replace your battery, even if you let the internal capacitor die out, which older cameras, there used to be a button cell that was solely dedicated to keeping the date and time, you will not have to worry about it, because that will be absolutely accurate. And all you have to figure out is basically GMT, because it does GPS gives your time data in universal time format rather than your location based. So that awesome technology, only recently somebody figured out, hey, we can use that in camera. I'm like, seriously? It's like some mobile manufacturer figuring out now, like, hey, mobile towers, they know the local time properly, just use that for timing. It's like, what? You cannot go there and buy a camera right now in the market that has a navigation chip that's even half as competent as the cheapest mobile phone you can buy. Like, there is no camera company which will sell you G4 or G5 chips. What does that mean? That simply means you have GPS, GLONASS, Galileo, and Bindu. Like, these are the G4 constellations that are completely complete, and G5 includes in case of Japan, they have their own regional navigation system, and India is also working on NavWeb system. So flat out, these technologies are already available in mass production. There are manufacturers that make this in mass. You don't have to, like, give a special order and all that jazz. But somehow these technologies are not available in 2020's high-end cameras. Now you may think, like, who am I? Like, that is not there. Cameras are growing, they are selling, hot takes and all that jazz. Yes, you already know the first victims. Point and shoot camera. Remember, they were like there were very big deals. Like my first camera, like, Canon. Oh no, this is a Nikon Coolpix. I forgot. S8100. Like, it still works, but here's the deal. When was the last time you saw people buying this thing? They were the first casualties. Second casualties, handycams. Remember those? Those were very big deals back in that day. Now gone. DSLRs, now they are going. So at this point in time, flat out, you can easily see, like, things are bleeding. Like, they're flat out ending. Companies, Samsung started into this camera equipment market, and they had NX series, which was surprisingly good, but they are like, yeah, mobile phones are far more profitable. Bye. Olympus. Bye. And I'm pretty sure soon I will add either one or two names into this, either will be Nikon or Panasonic. Both of them are in a really, really bad situation where they're like either the camera division will close off or the whole section would be sold off. So flat out, it's a real thing. It's not looking good. And if you trace 5 year basically stock market value, 5 year, not 1 year, 5 year, none of them are doing good except Sony. And Sony is doing good because their other things are also finally catching up. So flat out, it is serious, it is very real, and that simply means even if you are like, oh, I'm the highest end photographer, I can afford like a ludicrously expensive camera company cannot afford to do that, because camera company can only make sense if millions of pieces are being sold, otherwise they will go bankrupt. So flat out, it is serious thing. Now, okay, it's all doom and gloom. So what can we do to solve it? Well, first, camera company have to do something very simple. They have to simplify the product line. Instead of hundreds of models, they're like, okay, few models. From our lowest offering to highest offering, they cannot be like tick, 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 tick. No. It's like tick, big step, big step, big step. Clear, cut, easy to understand. They have to do that. And thankfully, all rumors are pointing in this direction that Canon is slowly trying to do that. They want to basically end off their M series lineup, simply because while the camera did sold, they did not sell enough lenses, and lenses are the main bread and butter for companies. So M series, they're gonna release one super epic one, one or two one, and poof, gone. DSLR slowly poof, gone, because DSLR have two lens lineups with the APS-C lens independent and full frame lenses. Poof, gone. R series, they will never introduce APS-C into that, so they'll have one lens, one mount, one system, done. So if they simplify this, it would be really awesome. It would be truly means Canon means you buy a Canon, it works with a Canon. You don't have to think about it. Does that means it works with M? Does that work with EFS or EF? You don't have to think like that. That would be awesome. So that is one of the critical aspects. Like Sony is really messed up at this point in time, and that's the sole problem with Sony. Sony had like Japanese ego thing, and I was truly surprised how awesome Sony A7 S3 was. It's like no ego. It's like, no, what does the public want? Public are honestly telling you like, dude, give us full HDMI, dude, remove the 30-minute recording limit. Now again, I could understand why they could not do that in past, which they could have done that, how GH5 did that, but they did not did that. Okay, fair enough, but now they could do that. They did it. Flip out screen, they did it. Full size HDMI, did it. Dual card slot with relay recording, they did it. Everything awesome. USB charging, awesome. USB 3 wireless data, basically USB 3 card reading, awesome. So they did that. All they had to do is listen to the public, not something awesome new technology, just listen to the goddamn public. So they did that, but I think the Japanese ego was like, somebody put a spell on this puppy that this should be protected, but how in effect what it rebounded. It's like, Harry Potter universe, it rebounds, and it rebounded to the poor 7C. It's like 7C, if it had dual card slot, it truly would have been awesome, but without dual card slot, if they had made it single card slot, it truly would have been awesome if the price was next to Canon RP. If it was price similar to that, it would be mind-bogglingly awesome. It's like, whoa, Sony cheap, awesome. No, it's like, and why they can't reduce the price? Because they have APS-C lineup and they have Sony A6600, which people already complain. It's like, dude, this was already like 90% of the price of A7 III in the market. So it's like, why would anybody buy that? So that's why simplify the product line. It is necessary. Better usability. Like, how the heck Sony could spend so much money and develop a new menu system to not give that in the new lineup? It's like, why? These are the things that they have to fix first. It's like everything else comes afterward. These things they have to fix first, and improve connectivity for, like, why this is like so hard for them to just put a eSIM there. Nowadays you don't even have to put a SIM slot. You can just put a eSIM now. It's like, just do that. Instagram is here. It's real. It's absolute. It's not gonna go anywhere. Do it. And other things also, like proper USB-C port you have, then use the goddamn USB 3 standard. So you do not need to buy a card reader for that. Like, there are many things they can do that will simply make people's life easy. It's like, dude, I bought a camera, it works. Rather than I bought a camera, then I have to buy a card reader, then I have to buy a battery cradle, then I have to buy this and that. Like, no, you don't need to do that. So improve connectivity. That is very critical. And then the fact that these processors are very high-end and very powerful, and the sole reason mobile phone is becoming so powerful where it's replacing other equipments including laptops is because they are treated as basically Google and Apple, they are treating mobile phone as a computer. What does that mean? That simply means if they want to, like, for example, ZEISS tried this something very interesting as a concept, that ZX1 series camera, it will be a full frame camera, it will have 35mm fixed lens, but it will also have full Lightroom poured into this, and will have the ability to use Wi-Fi to directly transfer file into Instagram and backup solutions and all that jazz. So it could have been done with any other camera made in 2020 easily. Like this concept was announced in 2018, so 2020 they could have easily done that, but flat out they are not doing it. That is a very serious limiting factor. They have to make the camera much more accessible to people. It's like, dude, I don't have the luxury of like you're taking a photograph, then going to downstairs and then editing my photo, then going to upstairs, and you're like, why the heck you're going upstairs and downstairs? I used to do a lot of astrophotography, and for astrophotography I have to do what we call expose to the right. So basically I don't have a laptop, so I expose in one direction. Oh, you might be seeing it. Basically expose in this direction, then downscale it, and then I will see the faint of glow of Milky Way. And you have to do that. It's a common technique, but yes, without a laptop, without Lightroom, that's very difficult to do. Like I have to just guess and hope taking multiple pictures, like at least one or two of them are in focus, or basically the band is going through exactly as I wanted. SD, if I had that system, that would be much easier user experience. It can be done. It's not a fancy thing, and they do not even need to give like 100% of Lightroom. Just minor things like exposure, temperature, things that you already change in camera. So if they start to treat this as a computer, that will open up a whole new world. Imagine this way, like there are people who are making applications just for time lapse. It's like each person is figuring out as like, hey, I think I can give time lapse with a slow wave effect in terms of exposure. So exposure will slowly grow up and come down based on time data. They're like, again, you open the equipment up and people will figure out the uses of it. So it can be done, and they have to become much more flexible. They cannot be like, oh, if you want to do this, you have to buy that. No, people will say buy. That's all you're gonna pay, buy. And then you're like, oh, why the heck my camera company is going bankrupt? So reality is, it is possible. They have to simplify it, better usability, improve connectivity, and treat it as a computer. Nothing fancy, nothing out of the ordinary, simple things. And they have to be much more flexible. And basically they do not have to troll their own customer. So this was my presentation on basically the reality of camera companies literally dying, and this is a serious thing. I am not laughing about it. So this was my presentation. I hope you liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike. Press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.